Hi guys, good morning. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Cytron's webinar series. My name is Adrian, and I am the program manager from Cytron Technologies. Thank you for tuning in again. And so, how our Cytron webinar series works is that we do things very casually. If you have any questions during the session, you are welcome to drop your questions in the comment section. I'll always constantly monitor on the comments. So the whole idea of the Cytrons webinar series is to share new knowledge every single week, new ideas, new skills, new techniques. And today we are going to cover how you can 3D model using SketchUp while replicating 2D art, or we know it as flat design. So I'll be showing you how you can easily draw very cool images, very cool 3D models using very beautiful images. All right, so join me again. If you have a laptop with you, welcome. I welcome you to join me with the tutorial together as I go through the lessons, as I demonstrate. You are welcome to follow the tutorials and then try to build your own. So because I believe it's easier to learn the tools when you get to have hands-on experience, when you get to practice on the spot, and then you will be able to identify the problems during the practice. So I encourage that. But if you don't have a laptop with you right now, it's okay. You can always rewatch this session on our YouTube channel, Cytron Tech YouTube channel. It's in the Cytron's webinar series playlist. You can always rewatch it after 12 o'clock. So without wasting more time, I am going to begin by covering our agenda today. We have a lot of things to talk about today. I have a few projects that I would like to show you, things that you can build. But before we go into that, I'm going to talk a little bit on what is what is 3D printing, what is 3D modeling. I'm just going to cover the fundamental. Did you know that the last 3D model workshop that I have conducted is actually 6 months ago? I wasn't sure when was the last session I had conducted until I checked last night and hey, whoa, it's been a while since I conducted a 3D modeling workshop. I have been doing a lot of private workshops or webinars for specific groups, but I figured that hey, why not I do it again, but this time I introduce you to some new techniques to create beautiful models. And later on I will show you some examples, and these are the examples that recently got very popular on the 3D printing community. Okay, so welcome. Hi guys, thanks for joining in. And yeah, we got people from Thailand. Hi, thanks for tuning in and welcome. I hope I am able to contribute and share to you some valuable knowledge during this session. So let's get started. I'm going to begin by introducing to you what is 3D printing, what is 3D modeling, the fundamentals. Okay, and I'm also going to explain why I have to explain 3D printing, because when they involve 3D modeling, you don't just 3D model. You want it to be realized. You want the object to be realized, to be physical. That's why we have 3D printers. So I will cover a bit on the 3D printing, but the focus today is on 3D modeling using SketchUp. Okay, and then I'm going to share with you on some of the common applications in 3D printing. It's a very quick introduction. I'm not going to dwell too much on 3D printing, 3D modeling, because the whole session is about 3D modeling and not 3D printing. And then later on, I will do some demonstration. I will go straight into SketchUp. Again, if you have a laptop, I want you to join me and practice as we go through together. So I will be demonstrating most of the time during this session on SketchUp, on the tools. We'll be using a free SketchUp Make from 2017 software. It's a free software from SketchUp. Okay, you can download it for free. I'm going to drop the link in the comment section right now, so you have time to download it before we start the demo. Okay, and yeah, again, if you have a laptop, you are welcome to download it now. Okay, you can go into this link over here and then look for the correct operating system and download it. So bear in mind that this is a 2017 SketchUp, and it's not a SketchUp Pro or a paid version, which means that the tools are quite limited. So what I'm going to demonstrate to you here today is that how are you going to make use of something that is free with limited tools to be able to create amazing things like I can show you some examples here right now, like this. Okay, I created this tiny little fox. We'll be drawing this later. Okay, and I drew this as well. Right, tiny little Christmas tree using SketchUp. It's reference to a 2D design. So I have a few more models here, but I'm going to show you later on. So yeah, just a hint on what are we going to draw today. So are you guys ready? Right, so again, questions in the comment section, I'll be able to answer you immediately. If no questions, I'll keep on moving to the next part of the webinar. So the big question here, what is 3D printing? And of course, what is 3D modeling? In this image here, 3D printing involved in a few process, but before you begin 3D printing, first you will need a digital 3D model. You will need to come up with a digital 3D model, and the digital 3D model don't just appear out of nowhere. You need to design the 3D model before you can enter into the 3D printing process to create 3D objects, and in the end of the day, you have a product. Right, so this is the process of 3D printing. So let's focus much more on digital 3D model. How do we get this 3D model? There are a lot of tools. We call it CAD tools, CAD. It's computer aided design software where you use your imagination or you use specific tools to create a 3D model of a specific object. All right, in this case, this is a pelita. So you design something in the software, then you print it out to make it realize the physical object. So the whole process involved in three-dimensional virtual object to physical object. And today we are gonna focus more on the virtual part, 3D design, 3D modeling. So there are two common 3D printers out there. The first 3D printer is known as the fused deposition modeling, which is where the nozzle move over and over on a flat surface, and then when it goes layer by layer to print out an object. So this is called fused deposition modeling. It's depositing plastic material on the surface to print a 3D object layer by layer. And another method, these are the two common methods. So another method is known as the SLA, stereolithography, which uses resins and laser. So when the laser, when the UV hits the specific area of the resin, it cures the resin and it solidifies the resin. So it prints layer by layer, but on the opposite direction, it slowly pulls out the object. So one is dry and one is wet. So these are the two common 3D printing technology. And the third one, I'm not going to show you in images, but the third one is SLS. It's a different type of 3D printing technology. It's more expensive, but it uses powder to print a 3D object. I'm not going to talk more on that. Again, our focus today is 3D modeling, but I'm just going to give you an idea how 3D printing works. Okay? All right. So the application of engineering, there are a lot of things you can do with a 3D printer. I'm not saying on the industrial scale. It can be on the maker level, means students trying to tinker with stuff or tinker with a 3D printer in their school. All right, it doesn't have to be industrial 3D printers. It can be a normal maker 3D printers, and you can still do a lot of things. So one of the things that you can do is engineering application. When we say engineering application, it only means that the stuff you print out is more rigid, it's more durable, it can perform more sophisticated tasks. In this case, an engine or a jet turbine, or these heavy duty machines can be also printed out using a 3D printer. In the end of the day, it depends on what material you print on. The higher the temperature of the object, the material, to melt the material, then means that it is able to withstand higher temperature and have better durability. Okay, so this is the engineering application. Bear in mind that there are a lot of parts in the aeroplane. I'm talking about aeroplane here. In an aeroplane that is 3D printed these days, if you go into a plane, you'll be able to see there are actually parts that is 3D printed. Because you don't build a lot of planes, so you don't really need to build a lot of these parts. When you need to replace these parts, you just 3D print it. So there are a lot of these 3D airlines industry that uses 3D printer for prototyping and also for replacement of their parts. 2, biology application. So this is to allow students or doctors to imagine, bone structure, spine, or even heart, to learn about anatomy of human being. So all this stuff, it gives you a closer look, a physical look on the actual object or actual anatomy. Okay. Geography landscape. So this is done by design students, by architect, and also you can use LiDAR and bounce out an entire area and obtain the points, the 3D model of a city and print it out physically. So when you go to a showroom, they usually show you the architecture of the building and things like that. These days, there are a lot of 3D printer being involved in Showroom Model. Okay, previously there are a lot of manual work where you have to slowly carve the stuff using wood. But these days there are a lot of 3D printers being used in creating this model because it's much more easier and it's faster as well. Social impact. So like during the COVID time, a lot of makers, people with 3D printers, they come out and then they start designing their own face shield bands and to help to support the frontliners. So these are just some of the examples of what a 3D printer is capable of helping. Geography, landscape, and architecture. This is what I've covered just now. So it's similar when an architect wants to demonstrate their design, they can print it out and test it and show it, demonstrate it physically. People still prefer to see things physically as compared to virtually. It is able to give you more detail, the tiny detail in a different perspective as compared to a virtual world or a virtual design. And art. Okay, today we are going to cover art. Art is a very good place to start in 3D modeling, in 3D design, or even in 3D printing, because art is very abstract. There is no, right? There's very minimal error margin. You're allowed to do mistakes in art, right? There's no right or wrong in art. You are not required to have specific measurement in art. You are allowed to be creative and explore the tools in any software. So I am going to talk about art. Of course, the left side, the skeleton of the dinosaur, it can be art, it can be historical, it can demonstrate to you more than what it is shown as an art. On the right side is what we are going to do today. We are going to design something simple, okay, by mimicking or by replicating existing 2D art. So we are going to do the right side, and I'm going to show you the right side model later on a closer look. And you are allowed to ask me questions on how I did it and how, but I will be showing you how you can design it. Okay. So here's an overview of what the demonstration is all about later. First, you will need a SketchUp, a 3D modeling software. Second, you will need some images. The images can be from your phone. You can snapshot some photos around your house, or when you go for a walk in the park, you see some nice trees. You can take all those photos. You can use those photos and create 3D models. So this is just an example, the deer head. It's very abstract. It's a triangulation art, a polygon art sort. So you can create these 3D models with any images as long as it's not too complex. The more complexity of the image, the more difficult it is to create the art. But I'm going to show you a few examples during this demonstration. Okay. So if you just join in, I actually shared the link in the description to download SketchUp Make. Okay, if you want to download it now, you can go and check in the comment section and copy and paste this link. There are a few operating system that this software supports. These are all the older versions of SketchUp, but SketchUp Make is actually a free software that you can download and practice, and it's a very good software for students to get the hands-on experience in 3D modeling. The one big difference with SketchUp and Tinkercad, which is widely used among students, is that SketchUp, it gives you a closer look on what the industry software is, how it works, okay, the tools, and then the plane. You have to do things a bit manually, whereas Tinkercad is more friendly. You get to take shapes and mold the shapes and create objects directly. So the concept is different, but the results is the same. Okay, I'm gonna pause a bit while I show you where you can get SketchUp Make. So if you don't have the link, go to Google, search for SketchUp Make, download. The first link you will get is downloading older version. Right, I know we are not getting the best version from SketchUp, but this is the best you can get for free. If you want to get the pro version, all of these are actually paid software. So unless you are ready to explore more, I suggest just practice it using SketchUp Make. And then when you transit from SketchUp to SolidWorks to AutoCAD to different software, it's actually not very difficult once you understand the fundamental of 3Ds. Okay, SketchUp is a widely used software for interior designers. They use SketchUp to design houses, interior. Okay, so just go ahead and download it, and then open up your software, and then this is what you're going to get. Okay, this is SketchUp. When you draw a model, when you start a model, it's going to show you a human over here. This represents almost similar to an actual human size, meaning when you create an object here, okay, this is the size equivalent to a human size box. It's big, it's not small, even though you see it as small. The human here is just for you to, have a direct comparison with an actual size. But then again, this is helpful when you're designing interior design, architecture. But it doesn't matter. In our case, we are going to design art. We are going to make it big. And then later on, if you want to 3D print it, you can always scale it down. So go ahead and delete this guy. And then open up your space. So in 3D modeling, 3D design, you will need a good mouse. A mouse with a scroll at least. Okay, this scroll allows you to zoom in and out. You see? If I turn it, it zooms in and out. And then when you click this, you click on the roller, you can actually orbit, move around. Okay, so it allows you a lot of flexibility by changing your view. You don't have to click this and then switch the view. You can just click the middle, the roller, and then you can change the view. And then you can use the hand and pan around. Okay, so these are just the simple movements in the 3D paint. Let's begin by searching for what we want to draw. I have some images that I want to draw and show you. But before I draw the images that I want, I'm going to show you the process of where to get those images. Go to Google. Again, Google is our friend. Go to Google and simply search for flat art. This is your keyword here, flat art. You can search for anything, flat art, landscape, flat art tree. So in this case, I search for flat art animal and then go to images. You'll be able to see a lot of images here. A lot of images. So these are called as flat art or flat design. It means that it's flat. It's relatively simple to design. If you want to practice on designing this flat art, it's not difficult. You just need to, get some shapes, cut some shapes, create the parts, and use your imagination to create the animal that you want or anything else. Okay, so in this case, I have actually downloaded this fox. I find it very simple. It's a simple practice for you guys. So you just need to right click, save as image, and get that picture. Okay, so I got my picture over here, fox. So what I need to do here is go to SketchUp and go to my fox, drag my fox into my 3D software. Just drag it here, and then you can move this image around. You can scale it, make it big, okay, or make it small. But again, this is 2D. This image is a piece of 2D. So what you're going to do here is actually to do tracing. You're going to practice by tracing or copy and paste an existing image. I'm not saying you have to be born an artist to be able to design something. You just need to know how to use tools and start practicing with existing images until you are more confident in building your own images. So let's begin by understanding some of the tools here. So this is my fox. I'm going to ignore all these images up here. This is just instructions on how you can draw your fox. But I am going to focus on the image down here. So change your view to top view. You can always click here, okay, to pan your view. But you want it to be on the top view so that you can see your fox clearly. Next, explore the tools. So over here we have line. Line is, okay, you draw a line. And then you have box, you can draw square. And then you have circle. And then you have arc, where you draw arc. And then you have this, where you draw curve. Okay, you draw your pie. And then this is again to draw circle. So there are very limited tools again in SketchUp Make. But it's okay. This is all you need to build something, to build your 3D model with 2D art. So this is 2D art I'm talking about. So let's begin by tracing the outline of this fox. Step 1, go ahead and pick a pencil. Identify which is the real straight line. So from here to here is a straight line. I'm just going to put here, and then this over here doesn't look like a straight line. I can pick a straight line and just click it here, but if I do that, it doesn't really click with the image here. The image is somewhat curved. So again, it goes with your creativity. I don't limit on how you want to do it, but if you can replicate the whole image exactly how it is with every curve that it gives, you will be able to get the better result, or you'll be able to get a better image. All right, so I'm just going to use this, a 2-point arc, where you select 2 points, 1 point to another point, and then slightly curve it. And then use the same thing again, 2-point arc, and then slightly curve it. Okay, you can see here, it's not exactly perfect. If you want it to be perfect, yeah, sure. Select a smaller point so that you can have more freedom to control your arc. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead all the way here. So just to remind you, I'm using a roller mouse, a mouse with a roller. So it makes 3D modeling so much easier. You can just zoom in and out without pressing extra button, without pressing this zoom magnifying glass, right? Extend, you don't have to use all those tools. It makes things easier. I believe there are more shortcuts that I'm using right now, and I'm trying to avoid shortcuts as much as I can so that you can see certain things, right? How to do certain feature. As I draw, you are welcome to join, and you are also welcome to ask questions. Okay, I'm going to select pencil and join from end to end. So once you have all the perimeters lines connected together, you form a plane, a 2D plane. So this whole thing right now is connected. If it's not connected, then okay, it will show like that, just the lines. But once it's all fully connected, it will shade the area, cover the perimeter, shade the area. Okay, so before I want it to shade the area, I want to continue on with whatever that is left in the fox here. I still need to design all this internal part. I don't want to cover it yet. Right? The whole idea of this fox is for me to trace it. So I want to trace it first. So go ahead and draw the ear right now. So this is actually a very fun activity for kids. If they want to design their own 3D keychains, we do encourage them to download it, but of course we also want to see them create their own creation. And this is one of the ways you can allow them to do that. So as you can see, it's actually very straightforward. I only use a couple of tools. I don't really use a lot of tools here. Okay, it's always good to change a different perspective to make sure that you are drawing on this 2D plane, the same axis, and not on a different axis. Okay, bear in mind that this is just a demonstration. That's why you see I didn't really exactly follow the lines here. But when you do it, please follow the lines. Challenge yourself to follow as close as possible. Okay? You can create more samples to make it more perfect. And then next, the eyes. And then I want something small. I want the eyeball. You're probably wondering, what size am I using? I can tell you that it doesn't really matter. You can make sure that both of these circle size are correct, are the same. How do you check? And you go and create this circle at the bottom right, you'll be able to see the size here, the radius. You can set a specific size to make sure that both sides are the same, or you can just use your artistic sense. All right. So now I got my fox and I'm ready to extrude the whole image. So by double clicking the line, you will be able to highlight the whole perimeter here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the area, cover the area back like that by just connecting some lines and then removing these lines. Next, I want to remove this part. I want it to be empty like this. And then I'm going to go ahead and extrude this part. Okay. Right. So while extruding, technically it should only extrude this area, okay, because all of them are connected together. So I'm going to close this part and close this part. Oops. And then click this. Okay, again, I didn't explain this, but this is called push and pull or extrude. You click this and then you can pull it upward, pull it downward. Create a 3D object from your 2D. Okay. When I create I'm just gonna set 100 distance. You probably notice why this ear is filled and this ear is not filled. This means that right now, this ear, it doesn't, the perimeters are not connected together. It means that when I select this ear, it's gonna select the whole thing. It meaning it thought that okay, this entire piece is in the same area. It also means that there is a hole somewhere here. Okay, you will have to find out where the hole is. I can delete this and now the area is covered all the way here. Right. There are a few ways to do this. You can okay, avoid that part. So it's somewhere here that is not connected. Connect this part and reconnect this line. And delete this part. So it was this line that is causing some issue. So I redraw it and now I'm able to delete this part and delete this line. Next. Okay, I have to keep the line should 1000. Okay, now it's floating. Okay, I'm gonna make it another 1000. And then I'm gonna extrude this. So I don't want every different shades, every different color of the picture to be on the same height. I want it to be different with different depth. I'm not sure if you're able to see this, but let's see. With different depth, you'll be able to get, it represents the color from the shadow that it causes. It's like little fins. If you have all the same depth on your image, you're just gonna get the same tone. Okay. Continue. So I'm gonna go half the depth. And this guy, I'm going to go higher than this. The nose is gonna be higher. So how I color the nose and the eyes, I just basically use a marker pen, right? A permanent marker, and just color it. So you need it to be extruding so that you can color it without touching other parts. If you make it lower, then you're gonna risk touching the surroundings. Highlight the whole thing. Actually, basically this is done already, right? There's nothing else you can do here. You basically got your whole 3D out here, out from this image. Highlight the whole object, right click and select reverse face. You can color your fox in the software by selecting paint bucket. And then, you can just select a color. This is just extra activities for kids. If they like it, if they enjoy it, then they can just color their fox. But of course, it doesn't really make a difference for when you're going to 3D print it. So there you go. There you have it, your fox, your cute little fox. And if you want to cover that ear, by all means, go ahead and use a pencil. Pull from one end to the other end. It should cover the 2D plane over here. Remove the line and extrude it. Okay, you can go all the way up here or you can go halfway down. 1000. So that it has different depth. Same goes to the other side. One end to the other end. Erase the line. Go higher by 1000. Then go ahead and color the ear. Okay. All right, so there you have it. Your fox is done. So next step, I want to create this 3D model in my 3D printing software. I'm going to slice this. So how should I do it? Easy, right? Select your object. Okay, don't select this image. Select your object. Right click, make a component. Make a component means it becomes an object. Or you can make it as a group as well. Create. So this entire thing right now is grouped together. Select this and go ahead and select Export STL. This is a plugin for SketchUp. If you didn't download the plugin, you won't be able to see this Export STL. So you need to go to, hold on a second. Yeah. Yeah, you need to go to Extension Warehouse. And in this Extension Warehouse, you'll be able to find the STL extension for you to export STL. So over here, search STL. Is the correct one? Yeah, and then over here, SketchUp STL, just select this and then install this and restart your SketchUp and you'll be able to see this export STL. So this is how you can get the file to be compatible for your slicer, and then you can 3D print it with a 3D printer. So I'm going to go ahead, export the STL. So once you click Export STL, it's going to show you this. Select millimeters, binary, the file format, and then export the only current selection. Click Export and then select a location. Okay, Fox2. So it has to be .stl. After saving it, you can use your 3D printing slicer and import the STL file into your slicer. Then you just, you can print it immediately. You just need to do some slicing. I'm not going to cover that today on the slicing part, but I'm going to continue on designing another image so that you get more practice. You get the idea on how you can do this. Okay. So go ahead and save your file. If you want to save, go ahead and save it. And then go ahead, select File, New, create a new file, and then let's look for another image. In this case, I am just gonna show you the part that I drew using this same technique. I'm gonna change my camera, my angle. Okay, hold on. All right, so you can see here. So this is if you're in a group, this is what I showed you earlier. All of these are 3D printed, except for the cotton here. So this is also 3D printed, this is also 3D printed. These are all drew based on the flat design if you Google search Christmas, background Christmas, landscape or flat design Christmas sort of thing, you will be able to see this image exactly. I just trace the trees, print the trees, trace the star, print the star, stick it together, put some light, and then you'll be able to get this sort of effect. But of course, find a good backdrop to complement with your 3D part. And last but not least, picking the right filament color is also very important unless you want to paint it yourself. So this is just one of the example. Actually, I put it in a box here, so I can just open and close the box. And then this is the one I told you earlier. So it's also traced from a flat design. It's not very nice. I use paint to paint it. But yeah, you trace it, you print it, and then you did that. You set the size, the thickness that you want. You print it multiple parts, and then you can stick it with a mount. Okay, so all of this can be done by yourself. You can create your own 3D model easily. It's not very complicated. And I encourage you to design more of these kind of files and publish it on Thingiverse. It's actually very, people like this stuff. Okay, it becomes popular in these few months. Okay, this is called wall art or, yeah, 2D designs. So if you go to Thingiverse, let me show you. If you go to Thingiverse right now, if you go to Thingiverse, how are you going to find these files? You just search 2D wall art. And you'll be able to get a lot of these parts, a lot of these examples. But sometimes you can't find the parts that you want. You can always draw it yourself. You see there are like 2D wall art tree. Okay, there's an error. Tree design, snowflakes, Homer. So all these tree design, do you think, oh, there's an error on Thingiverse as usual. But in this tree design, do you think that they actually draw it out from the imagination? No. They basically take a photo of a tree and then they trace the trees. They trace the line and then they create a 3D object. It's similar technique as what I taught just now. This is how you retain the natural way of tree branches goes around, and then you still get your 3D image out from it. Okay, so up to you. You want to design it yourself, you want to download it, you can do both. So one more, I think we have one, so we still have some time, so I'm going to design one more example. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to pick this New Year Christmas image. Go to your SketchUp, pick your photo, dump your photo. I'm going to close this. Oops, hold on. Okay, find your photo in JPEG, drag it in. Okay, right. Sometimes your image can be blurred, but it's okay. So this is the image that I use for the example that I showed you just now. So this is a very blurred image, but you get the idea. It looks nice. It looks festive. You just want to trace it. So it doesn't have to be very HD image. It can also be a photograph that you took from your phone, as long as there's outline for you to trace. So let's do some tracing here. Very quick one. I'm going to trace the clouds. Let's trace the clouds. Okay, certain points you have to use your imagination. But cloud tracing is actually very simple and fun because you got the 2-point arc. You can just go around selecting the toughness of your cloud. So there you have it. My cloud is done, but it's not forming. There's some problem here. Right, so this line, there's an issue here. I'm just going to redraw this. Okay, now once you manage to get all the lines to join together nicely, you'll be able to create a 2D area. And then just go ahead, click reverse face and extrude it. Depends on how much you want. I'm going to go 150. This is my cloud, 100. And triple click to select all the object, or you can highlight it. Right click, make a component and create. Move it away. Let's draw the trees. Okay. Slight curve downwards. Slight curve downwards. All right, and then straight line over here. Straight line over here. Somewhere here. So you can choose where you want to end it. In this case, I'm going to, I'm going to draw a few more lines. So you have to rely on the instinct, how you want to make it look nicer. Especially in this case, you can't really see what's under the cloud. So you need to improvise a little bit. Okay, I'm using pencil. There you have it. Okay, it's a very, this part is a bit, I'm not happy with this part. It needs more curve to it. I think same goes to this. So again, arts, in this case, very abstract. There's no rules to it. You are free, you're welcome to explore however you like. Just trace an existing 2D art and then create a 3D object out of it. Extrude. Okay, wait. Highlight. Reverse. Extrude. And of course, you can draw more on this part. You can be creative, make holes. Make holes, measure the LED size holes, and then you can put LED through these holes and then light up your Christmas tree. So yeah, you can cover everything up and it still looks nice anyway. Okay, so right click, make a component, copy, paste, change the size, paste, change the size, paste, paste, multiple of it, and then place them on their spot, place them on their spot, place them on their spot. You can arrange everything here before you arrange it in the actual thing. So the image that I showed you just now, the prototype that I showed you just now, it's a good photo frame. You can frame it as a 3D art, and you don't really need to buy all this. It's easy to make if you have a 3D printer. Okay, moving onwards. Okay, one more tree. Bit. Scale it upward. This is just to give you a visual. Just a visual reference. That what it will looks like if you stack everything up together. Yeah, I think you need more clouds. But then again, export everything here into STL, print it out, place it nicely, stick it together, and then you have a very nice piece of art. You can't say that, okay, I drew this flat design, but you can say that you drew this, 3D model, and it still looks good. It looks better because it's physical. And yeah, give it a try if you have a 3D printer, if you have you downloaded this software, right? It's a very fun practice. Okay, so guys, I'm gonna end our session here. I hope you find this, this step-by-step demonstration useful, not too complicated, simple for you to follow. If you find it complicated, you can always rewatch this live stream on our YouTube channel. It's in Cytron Tech playlist, and you can just go and check on the recording, pause and play whenever you like to find the steps that I've gone through. I believe sometimes I did use hotkeys or shortcuts, so you may not be able to catch it. But I'm sorry if I'm not very clear. So if you have more questions, I welcome you to join our Telegram group. I'll be showing you the slides here, our Telegram group. So if you have questions, you can always join us in our Telegram group and you can ask us. I will be there to answer your questions too. Right, just to sum up on what we learned today, I did have a brief explanation on what is 3D printing and what is 3D modeling, then the application of 3D printing. So today we demonstrated how you can build art, 2D art in particular, by making use of photos or 3D art photos to trace the photo and create images. Okay, bear in mind that again, you can create this art by taking photos outside from your phone. Just snap photo, trace the outline, and one of the good practice is actually to find outline art images, and then you can actually follow this. If you want it for students for practice, you can ask them to use the SketchUp tools to draw a 3D object from this fish, or create a simple 2D art by tracing 2D images. All right, so this is just the 3 things that we covered today. I hope you find this interesting. More things that I would like to share. So this coming Wednesday, next week Wednesday, we'll be having a Christmas 3D sales. you're welcome to go and check out on our 3D stores in Cytron Technologies Marketplace. We have things, everything on 3D printing, 3D accessories, including 3D pen, up to 30% discount. Do check us out. The sales will be on 8th to 25th December. It's a perfect time to get something for your friends, 3D accessories, just to introduce them on 3D stuff. So just to share a view on this. And then, oh yeah, if you notice, this banner is not really designed virtually. It's all 3D printed. So just to highlight that. And yeah, we have this 3D printing session coming up on the 8th and 11th December coming week. It's actually next Wednesday and Saturday. Wednesday is at night 8 to 9 p.m. and Saturday is at the noon 3 to 4 p.m. So if you're interested to join us to learn about 3D printing, or if you have questions about your 3D printer, scan this link, scan this code over here, and then if you miss this code later, you can always watch the video and scan it. Register your interest to show that you want to participate in this clinic session. And this is an interactive session, means we'll be using Zoom. You can talk to me, you can talk to other people to talk about your questions. Okay, and not like the current session where I'm just the only person talking. So if you join this session, you'll be able to talk to me, you'll be able to talk to some of the other Cytron's members as well. Yeah, so welcome to join us here. Last but not least, one more thing. So if you are interested in learning 3D printing, 3D modeling, join our Telegram group here. I will share the link in the description, in the comment here. All right. And I'll share the link later. But yeah, this is what you're looking for. So if you have feedback, welcome to give us your feedback by filling this form. After filling this form, you'll be able to receive an e-certificate. Make sure you give us the right name and email address. So your name will be printed on the e-cert and emailed to your correct email address. If you give wrong name, wrong email, then you won't receive your e-certificate. And if you answer the questions, the quiz question incorrectly, you will also won't be able to receive your e-certificate. So make sure you answer the question correctly to show that you are not a robot. Okay, I just dropped the link for this feedback form. So I'm gonna stay here for another 2 minutes. If you have other questions, welcome to ask me. And again, thank you guys for attending today's session. It's a little slow pace, I understand, but a lot of demonstration. So I hope you find it interesting. You learned something today, and you will take this knowledge and go and practice it over the weekend. Share with your friends. Design something and build something. Okay. Question, guys? So I just dropped the Telegram group link. If you want to join us in our Telegram group, please join us. Can use this sketch to make games. Yeah, I believe so. You can create puzzles. You can design your own puzzle. You can create a lot of things actually. Once you have a 3D printer, you can create a lot of games, mini activities for small kids, for students. You can design, but I think if you want to create games, interactive games, you can always use Tinkercad as well. In my past few sessions, I actually talk about Tinkercad. There's this one tool. It's also a 3D modeling tool in Tinkercad. Okay, if you go to Cytron's webinar series on our YouTube channel, you'll be able to find one of the series that I talk about on, where is it? Yeah, it's in Tinkercad lah. So you can draw and then you can program your 3D models to move around. Okay, so guys, thank you again. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you again shortly, soon, hopefully next week or the week after. So thank you for joining. One more question. In order to export STL file, we need to install STL extension in SketchUp, right? Correct. So in the SketchUp here, right? Lucky I'm still here. Under Windows, go to Extension Warehouse, and then in Extension Warehouse, search for STL and download the STL SketchUp extension, and then restart your SketchUp, and you will be able to see Export STL. Pick your file, select your file, and then just export it to STL, and then you'll be able to view it in your Cura or your slicing software. But make sure that when you put in your Cura software, the file will be very big, so you have to scale it to smaller so you can see it clearer. Sometimes you will need some scaling. You need to do some scaling. Okay, because in SketchUp you're actually drawing the image, very huge image, and the model will be very big. So when you put in Cura, it will look very big. All right. So if no more questions, I'll see you in our Telegram group. And again, I would like to thank all of you for tuning in today, and I will see you guys next session. Bye.